Hi, my name is Ryan. Thank you for hopping onto the Digital Marketing on SEO Masterclass. Today, I am going to show you some really cool things. And the question that I've gotten a lot is, how many articles or pages do I need in order to rank at the top for my industry? And if you search online or ask most SEOs, they will tell you it depends. And I'm here to tell you, no, you can actually find out. Today, after this free masterclass, you're gonna be able to figure out exactly how many pages that you need in order to be at the top position for your industry, for your keyword. So without further ado, let's get the masterclass started. Here we go. All right, so again, welcome to the Digital Marketing Masterclass on SEO. So who is this for? It's for small business owners, medium-sized businesses, SaaS, which is software as a service, startups, for any personal brand. So whether you're a coach, consultant, speaker, author, if you're a web designer, developer, creative person, if you run a local business, professional services, if you're a realtor or you sell insurance, if you're in health and fitness. What I'm about to share will apply to you regardless of which of these industries that you fall under. So let me walk through today's agenda. This is pre-recorded. We will not be doing the meet and greet, but I'll give a little introduction on who I am and what makes me qualified to share this stuff with you. So in the training, I'm going to explain, I would say, the number one rule for marketing success in understanding the SEO game. And this is very high level stuff. It's not stuff, if you just go and search for SEO agencies, they're not going to tell you the stuff I'm about to share with you because they frankly haven't really done it at the scale that I've done it. And I'm going to share with you SEO mastery secrets. So programmatic SEO, I'll explain what that is and why it's so incredibly powerful. Google Images, which is a very underrated thing that a lot of SEOs don't really talk about. And also how you can incorporate AI automation into your SEO strategy. And then also I'll show you how you can do competitor research so you can find out. I mean, it wouldn't be nice if you can find out exactly the game plan of your top competitors. That'd be nice, right? So stay tuned because that I will explain that. And all of this training is completely free. At the very end, I'm gonna give a very short pitch, but all of this information, it's extremely valuable. You're not gonna find it anywhere else on the internet, and you'll be able to take action literally, like, as I'm going through this. I'll show you how to find out exactly what your competitors are doing. There's two parts for SEO. One's on-site SEO and one's off-site SEO, and I'll explain those in further detail. But with the off-site SEO, backlinks is the most important component of that. And I will show you how you can find out exactly how many backlinks and unique backlinks that your competitors have. And again, all this is part of the free masterclass. And then later, I'm going to give you a cheat code as well as a special gift for going through this. So who am I? I was a full stack web developer. This is over a decade ago, but I've worked on a professional capacity as a web designer, a web developer, doing both front end and back end stuff. And then I switched over to doing digital marketing. And the last position I was a digital marketing manager. And then I started a PR business. And the PR business I sold over $3 million of press release services and won a bunch of G2 awards, was mentioned by HubSpot, Shopify, the United States Small Business Administration, and a bunch of other websites. So that's who I am. And one of the core parts of client acquisition is the SEO. And I've leveraged all sorts of advanced strategies that I'm going to share with you in order to that I've used for my own business, and also I've used it in the past for other people that have, and I've seen a success with it. This is kind of the cheat code. If you go with me, I will guarantee the results, or I'll refund your money back. And I'll go into this at the very end. I don't really want to get hung up on this part. So what is my number one rule for marketing success, right? And that is this cause and effect relationship that I want to really instill into you, because a lot of people, they think that there's some like secret to SEO, there's some secret hack, and there are, but I wouldn't call it, and that's what I'm calling them. But In practice, there are more so a lot various techniques, and these techniques you bring into an over encompassing strategy, and you execute that, and that is the secret, right? And I want to use health and fitness as an example. So I think most of us at one point or another have had some kind of fitness goal, whether you want to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or 50 pounds, or you want to gain muscle. I've met people that want to do both. Now, if you want to just lose weight, right? If you, let's say, reduce your caloric intake, you actually measure it and you reduce that by 30%. So you're eating literally 30% less every single meal, or you just cut out one of the meals and then you walk 2 miles every day and you do that for a month, well, you're going to lose weight. I don't, that's just, you're just going to lose weight. I mean, it's a simple cause and effect relationship. And I think anyone that's actually done that can tell you that, yeah, that's, if I eat less and work out more, like I lose weight. That's, it's not magic. It's just a cause and effect relationship. And likewise, if you want to gain muscle, if you lift the weights for an hour a day while you're reducing your caloric intake and getting the cardio in, you're also going to gain muscle. And if you stuck with this, let's say you stuck with this for 3 months or 6 months, right? Let's say 6 months, you stuck with this plan. It would actually be insanely ridiculous if you did not lose weight. If you reduce your caloric intake by 30% and you walk 2 miles every day, and also you're lifting weights for an hour a day, if you came back and got fatter and gotten weaker, that would be absolutely ridiculous, right? And and it seems so obvious here because this is so intuitive for us, right? But with stuff like SEO and marketing, people think that there's some wizardry or magic behind it, but it's not. It's just, do you have the skills and do you have the knowledge? And then it's, once you have the knowledge, which I will share with you, as well as how to do it, the rest is you actually doing it. So SEO, it's the same thing. If you do predictable things, you put in the work, you do predictable things, it will lead to predictable outcomes. And it is really a simple input output equation at the end of the day. I mean, it's not super precise, but you can have a general idea. If I do a lot of this will happen. I think the biggest problem with SEO though is that if you just search for SEO advice, there's a handful of people that actually that know their stuff, but sometimes they're not completely honest with you because they're trying to sell you into some their SaaS, where it's they'll have their own keyword research tool, and then really put in the emphasis that you really need that. I'm gonna try to. Here's the thing for me at this point, building goodwill with people is more important to me than making a quick buck. I've gone through where I've made money, lost lost everything. Money is important. But it's definitely not the most important thing. I think building goodwill with other human beings out there, that's extremely important and valuable. So I will try to give you the information straight. And so in this space, you have a few guys that know what they're talking about, but the majority, I would say 98% of articles that you will read, those people have not actually done it. They just haven't done it, or if they have, they haven't done it at any significant scale whatsoever. They've optimized some title tags for the local business with 5-10 pages, or they have worked for a giant company, so they are just one cog in this giant machine, so they're not able to explain and walk you through everything works A to Z. I've done it. That's how I've built my press release business, mostly through SEO. So I'm going to break down kind of the science behind that, as well as all the lessons I've learned in the past when I did SEO consulting, help businesses, and also my own projects, all kind of leading up to this point, all the knowledge I'm going to just share with you. Okay, so we're going to I'm going to explain to you. So there's two components for SEO, which is search engine optimization. There's the on-site SEO, stuff you do on your website, and there's off-site SEO, stuff that's outside of your website. Every page on your website is a gateway for somebody to find out about you. The same way club promoters, they hand out club flyers. Every single piece of that material, most of it probably get thrown away. But the more they hand out, the more likelihood someone's going to keep it. And then the more that grows, the more likelihood people will come through. The same with this. think of every page as an arrow that you're firing. So the more arrows that you fire, the more likelihood of success that you would have. So think of these arrows as the pages on your website, and that's basically the gist of on-site SEO. Now, there's a ton of technical things. I don't think that's as important as understanding the bigger picture, because the technical stuff is easy once you understand the bigger picture. There's a lot of them, a lot of components, but they're not, it's not hard. It's just a matter of doing all these different things. And that includes title tags, meta description tags, connecting it to Google Search Console, connecting it to Google Analytics. So that's the kind of technical part of it. But I want you to first understand from a high level where everything fits in first. Um, so let's say that you do have a bunch of pages on your website. Each of those pages, it's an arrow, but these arrows aren't that strong. So you can have a bunch of pages, but the likelihood that it will rank really well, especially if it is a relatively new website with low domain authority, meaning that Google doesn't really perceive your website as that strong, or that based on their algorithm, it's not very high authority. So to get it so that way Google perceives it as high authority, you need to level up these arrows that you're firing. And the way to do that is you need backlinks, and that's the whole game of offsite SEO. So to kind of recap, on-site SEO, the pages, think of them as arrows, okay? You want as many of these arrows as possible to fire out, because every single page is an opportunity for somebody to find you. However, you need to make these pages rank better, and so that is offsite SEO, which is link building, backlinks, that whole thing. Now, it depends on the niche. You may not even need that many backlinks. Okay, so one thing that I have seen so many business owners that I've talked to, what stops them from having a bunch of content is they've heard people say it's about quality over quantity. Yeah, sure. I mean, it sounds good, but here's the thing. If you're only releasing a few articles a month, you'll never catch up to your competitor that's releasing 100 articles a month, or 50, or even 50 articles a month. It's just a completely different pace. And let's say you have 1,000 pages, right? And I would take 1,000 pages that's average, then let's say 20 pages that's really good. And here's why. Because if you have 1,000 pages, you have that many more opportunities for you to be found than the guy with 20 pages. And once those, so if you have 1,000 pages, let's say that Google thinks only 1% or two, like 10, 20 pages are actually good, right? Then those will get ranked. And then once you find out that those pages are getting clicked, you can also go back and improve upon that content to deliver an even better user experience for the prospective customer. Versus if you only have pages, the volume just isn't there. So if and I think understanding that principle, don't feel that every piece of content has to be perfect. If you have, let's say, 1,000 pages, I mean, it really doesn't matter if they're subpar, because I said you can always go back and improve them. But the more you have, the more opportunities that you have for people to find the page to begin with. Because it doesn't matter how good your content is, if people aren't finding it, it's not very productive. So let's say that now you have a bunch of pages, right? Well, how do you get those pages to rank even higher and climb up? One thing is time. Okay, so the longer you have your website, the longer you have your domain name, and the longer that piece of content exists, that helps. That's a huge factor in terms of your page getting ranked high. So I think there's a saying that when's the best time to plant a tree? It's 10 years ago, but the second best time is right now. What you want to do is get started, have the content up as soon as possible. Even if rough drafts, get it up so that way Google starts indexing it. And then you can always go back and refine and fine tune it later on. Okay, so the time component, that's one component. Another, and probably the biggest component, is backlink. So what is a backlink? A backlink is, simply put, a link from somebody else's website going back to your website. And the most common format of this is, it could be an article written that someone has written about you and then mentions you and then it links back to you. Or so it could be organic, people posting, talking about you, that's earned media. You can also pay blog owners for this. That's sponsored posts or guest posting. Press release is another. So there's a variety of different ways. There's also directories that you can add your website to. Each of these are backlinks. Not all backlinks are created equal. So a backlink from a website that has high domain authority. Now, domain authority is actually a metric that a company called Moz has developed. And then there's another metric called domain rating, um, which is developed by a company called Hrefs. So these are proxy metrics to gauge how high authority a website is. And the reason why the industry uses these proxy metrics is because Google, originally they had this thing called PageRank, which is named after Larry Page, and it's a logarithmic algorithm, meaning that going from a 7 to an 8, it's a magnitude greater rather than linear. They phased that out a long time ago, so because Google kind of just wants to keep that part of their algorithm a secret. So we have these two major companies, Ahrefs and Moz, and they've developed their proxy metrics to rank how high authority a website is. And the more backlinks that you have, the more high authority websites linking back to you, the higher your website's authority would grow. So it's this interconnected web of data, and that's kind of how Google calculates how much authority your website has or how much authority the websites linking back to you have. So the more backlinks that website has, the higher authority that it will have. So that's the offsite SEO component. Okay. Okay, so now let's jump into some SEO mastery secrets. So, what is programmatic SEO? Programmatic SEO is, if you've probably been on websites where you either start searching for a very obscure model of a product, it could be a phone or a gadget or a piece of tech, and then you find a bunch of websites with that, and you're like, wow, this is it's for a really old phone. And how do they actually have someone making a single page manually for every single component of every single model of every single make of a phone or a car or something like that? No, no, this is all stuff coming from a database. Another example is real estate. Like if you search for an address, you will often find Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all these sites always dominating. And you're like, wow, do they really have tens of millions of pages that some have added to the website? And no, no. What they do have is they have a data set, a giant database of all this information. And it could be spread out across a bunch of different databases that they then join together. But here's the basic concept of programmatic SEO. So take a database, and for those who are not familiar with how databases work, think of a spreadsheet, okay? A database is pretty much a super powerful spreadsheet. So you have rows and you have columns, right? So think of each column as a variable, okay? So in the case of Zillow, the variables could be address, city, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage. So those would be the different variables that they have access to. And then each row would be each property address. Okay. So this is an example of how their sitemap looks on the left side. As you can see, what they are doing is they are looping through all the different cities, and then they're creating a 3D home virtual tours page for every single city, which is kind of interesting. So if you want to find virtual tours in your city, well, guess what? Zillow has you covered, right? And they probably have tens of millions of pages on the website, if not more. And yeah, this is how they do it. So if you look at the screenshot on the right hand side, you will see these variables: number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage, the status of the property, the price of the property, the address, zip code, all of these different pieces of data. Pretty much, if you've ever used mail merge before, where you would have a template and then you would swap out the first name and email address, it's kind of that, except you have access to a lot more variables to work with. So every single record, every single row in your database, or visually speaking, a spreadsheet, becomes a page that, and it's done through programming. So hence the term programmatic SEO. So this is a very powerful strategy that I've used in my business. Okay, Another thing that I think this is one of the most underrated things, period. But now I only searched for my company's name, but you can extrapolate that to just all these different keywords. And even think of this: if you have pages with your comparing you to your competitors, think of your top competitors, right? And so you're making pages to compare that, but those articles you would have your logo on it. So when people search for your competitors, you could have your logo show up in Google Images. And each image that gets put into Google Images is kind of like a page of content. It's another opportunity for prospects to find you. So if I type in the keyword like PR distribution, and this business I no longer run it. So, but it's still index. So, but by the time you see this, some of the stuff might not be in the index anymore. But here's the concept. So you want your logo on all of your or on as many of your images as possible, because that's pretty much free exposure in terms of impressions and clicks that you don't have to pay for. So definitely take advantage of that. A lot of times people just grab a stock photo, but they don't really put anything that's unique to them on it. And so, for example, you take this image right here. Well, if someone just looks at the image, yeah, they can click onto the page, but you see with PR distribution, it's there. The logo, the brand is imprinted into the head. So if they see a brand again and again, that just increases the chance of them clicking through. Okay, so here is how you would leverage AI automation to produce content. So first you would do research on your competitors, so that way you get an idea of what kind of keywords that you need, what kind of content your competitors are producing. And so that's the research phase. So you research that and then you compile a bunch of keywords. So these keywords could be topic based. So you can have a bunch of different buckets with different like topics that you want to cover. So let's say if we use um like let's say it's like a martial arts gym, right? And they teach several things. Well, you can have a bucket of keywords for Muay Thai. So it could be Muay Thai, Thai kickboxing, boxing, striking, self-defense. So these could be examples of keywords within that bucket. And then if they, let's say, offer jujitsu, then it could be self-defense, jujitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, BJJ schools near me. So that's examples of topic based keywords. Another is going after long tail keywords. And these, if you are, let's say, doing e-commerce and you have a lot of different, I guess, components, perhaps, that people may search for, you can use those as long tail keywords. But also you can have a bunch of comparisons. So it could be you're comparing this product versus this product. And that's very common in amongst websites that sell tech stuff. You can import a list of product names as the keywords. You can also do it geolocation based, meaning, for example, Van Nuys, dentist, North Hollywood, dentist, and kind of loop through a bunch of different locations around you. And you take that, and then I think these days it's safe to say that everyone's using AI for content creation. No one is doing it manually now. So what you would do is in the prompt, you will describe your brand to them, then kind of give it instructions on how to write the article, and then give it these keywords, and then any additional context, and then it'll produce the article for you. Now with each of these keywords, because you don't want every single page to be exactly the same, otherwise there's no point of having more than like just repetitive stuff. So you need different keywords to rotate through, and then they'll produce the article for you. But the article itself, you need a featured image. And if you're buying stock photos and you're paying a couple bucks each, I mean, you'll either be recycling the same ones over and over again, or it's just not cost effective. So I love pexels.com. It's one of my favorite sites. It's royalty free. And what I would kind of recommend doing is cropping into a square, so that way you can recycle that image and use it on social media. But also add credits. I think with pexels it's not required, but I think it's just the right thing to do. I mean, these people are produce these images for you to use it free. It's only right that you give them proper credit. And then you can add your logo somewhere, so that way when you post on social media, when it's in your articles, your branding is you gain that free exposure. And then you would upload the article along with the featured image into WordPress, or into, if you use the custom CMS or content management system. So that would be the process of one article and how you can leverage AI to do that. um it's not hard, it's just the time that it takes to actually just, and the willingness to just do it. Okay, next, competitor research. So how will you actually find out how many pages, because that's the whole, reason you're here, to find out exactly how many pages that you would need in order to rank well for your industry. So what you do is search for the keyword of your industry. So I just use cosmetic surgeon as an example. And what you want to do is ignore the ones that says sponsored, right? If it's a sponsor, ignore those, because those, they're just paying every single time someone clicks. So you would, so search for your industry and pick out the like top 5 to 10 websites in the organic results. So not the paid stuff, but the organic results, the ones that do not say sponsor next to it. So pick out 5 to 10 of them. And sometimes Wikipedia show up, or Yelp. And the reason they all show up is because they're using programmatic SEO to, whether it's a user generated content strategy or programmatic SEO strategy. I mean, it's incredibly hard to compete against those. So I would look at actual business operators' websites. So what you want to do is, at the end of the website, type in /sitemap.xml. It's a sitemap file that they submit to Google. Now, here's the thing. Some websites, they actually hide this, or what they show, or they only show the core pages, and then their deep pages are hidden out of view. And the more sophisticated players that do SEO, they do that. So sometimes, if you're, well, why does this website only have a couple hundred when they seem so big? Well, it's probably because they're hiding it. But most of the time, especially local businesses and smaller operators, they're not going to be doing all that. So you can just type in /sitemap.xml after the domain name of the website, and you will actually just see a complete list of every single article and piece of content on their website. And it's honestly incredible. So I use Shopify as this example, and you kind of see what Shopify is doing. They're comparing themselves to Magento, to Wix, to WordPress, to PrestaShop, to BigCommerce. Early on, some of these guys, Magento, WooCommerce, they were the big players. So they are riding the coattails of these bigger players and basically siphoning traffic from them. So that's their game plan here. And this is how the page looks, and this is all done using programmatic SEO. And I have a tool that you can run. It's not my tool, but I've tested a bunch of these tools. This is probably one of the more reliable ones. Although they kind of, sometimes they'll be reliable and then they will not be reliable, but so far this one is good. When I inputted this Shopify sitemap, I found that they had over 1,600 pages of content. So if, let's say that you were starting your own, let's say, e-commerce agency, and you want to start ranking, well, you need to be getting at least close to that to even be in the conversation of ranking well. And keep in mind, the longer you have your content, that's very important. You would actually have to do a lot more than that to compete, because they already have the first mover advantage with their website being indexed on Google. Okay, so here is this tool that I'm going to share with you. So go to this address, and then paste in the URL, the sitemap URL, and then it will actually count the pages for you. So as you can see in this marinaplasticsurgery.com, they have 2,500 plus pages. So if you are a plastic surgeon and you want to compete with them, and you don't have 20 pages, well, guess what? You're just not gonna. It's just not gonna happen. So what I recommend and would advise is, if you want to be in the conversation of ranking within the first few results of your industry, you need to have more pages than the highest. So if, let's say, your competitors have 1,000 pages, 2,000 pages, 5,000 pages, 3,000 pages, you need to beat the one with the 5,000 pages, because these guys, they're already indexed. So they have that first mover advantage with Google. So you need to produce even more content to, in the conversation of like ranking with these guys or outranking any of these guys in the top 5 results. And also with this, because you can actually just start going to these like pages. It's all out there for you. You just have to do the work of going through it. You can get a pretty good idea of what they are doing with their content strategy. I mean, I can tell you right now, one the key factors that helps with Shopify's SEO success is their comparison pages. And in different industries, you will see that strategies could vary very, very wildly. In some e-commerce, some of them, they just have all these different products, even if they don't sell the products, because guess what? They may not have the exact phone you're looking for, the exact piece of tech that you're looking for, but they have all this other stuff. So they get you in the door, oh, we don't have this item, but we got all these. So a lot of different strategies if you just take the time to kind of go through. And that's what I help businesses with, is coming up with understanding your competitors from a high level. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, this is it. This is the formula that you need to figure out how much content that you need in order to succeed. And by succeed, I mean rank at the top for the industry's keywords. So that's on-site SEO. Now let's move on to off-site SEO. So off-site SEO is getting a lot of backlinks. So I use Zillow because it's a large website, and also I use this local website. So you can kind of get a gauge of the scale of massive players versus fairly big players, but still relatively not. They're not Zillow. Domain rating is one of the authority metrics that I was alluding to earlier with. So this is developed by Ahrefs. It's ahrefs.com, but they call themselves Ahrefs. And if you go to this URL, you can actually put in the websites of your competitors, and it will give you this information. So now you have a formula to figure out, okay, I need 159,000 backlinks and over 700 unique websites. So let's say here's a website, right? And they have 5 pages that have a link back to your website. That means that there's one linking website and 5 backlinks. So that's what it means. So that's why with this massive ratio, I think some of these are, or many of these are probably from press releases, and I'm sure some of them are from guest posts as well, and they're probably buying some SEO packages too. I would imagine, to achieve this volume, and they've probably been doing it for a very long time. I mean, it's not most websites, the domain authority, especially if it's a new website, it's less than 5, and over time that number grows. But a domain rating of 41 is really good, because I said it's on a logarithmic scale. So this is how many backlinks that you need in order to compete with the top dogs in your industry or in your space. I've given the formula for what you need to do as far as on-site SEO and off-site SEO. So now you actually know exactly what numbers you need to aim for to be at the top of your industry. So if you were to do all this stuff yourself, this is kind of how much it would roughly cost. It will cost you probably around $12,000, or if not more, and I think it's probably gonna be more. I mean, if you're really savvy, you've ran your own agency before, then you could probably get some of this stuff done for cheaper. These are probably more conservative numbers, to be completely frank. And also, even if you hire a marketing strategist for $3,000, I don't think they're going to come with more experience than what I'm sharing with you, frankly. This is how much it would cost you if you were to do this yourself. Here's the cheat code. If you go with me, I charge $5,000 a month, and I can do a 1 hour call with you every 2 weeks. And what I guarantee is within 30 days, you'll see the results, or I'll give you your money back. And by results, here's why I qualify as results. So I'll either get you more keywords that you would rank for. So we're going to take a baseline metric of how many keywords you rank for, and then after 30 days, we're going to have more keywords, or I'll get you more traffic, or I'll get you more sales. So either one of these three, I would consider as results, and that's within 30 days, or I give you your money back. Now, ideally, I want to do all three, but because with SEO, so much of it is out of my control. I mean, it's most of the control is on Google's part. That's why I'm promising just one of these within 30, because 30 days, look, no one SEO wise is going to promise results in 30 days. So I'm fairly confident and competent in what I'm doing. That's why I'm offering. You're just not going to find anyone that's going to offer this to you. And if you want a service after 30 days, you can choose to keep it, or you can let me know and cancel. And if you renew, then you're not eligible for a refund at that point, because obviously if I'm doing months of work, it just wouldn't be fair to get a refund for that. So if you stick around after the first month, that's assuming you're happy with the work and you're continuing. And that's what I'm looking for, long-term relationships with businesses. There's a lot more involved, but that's just the general outline of the work that I'm going to do. Here's a special gift. Because you are on this call with me, I'll give 50% off. So it's certainly not going to be the 11 or 12 grand that you to do yourself. You would, it's not even the 5,000, it's $2,500 per month. You can cancel anytime, there's no contracts. And within 30 days, if I cannot deliver one of those results, whether it's more keywords ranked, more traffic to your website, or sales, then I will give you your money back. So I think it's I mean no one is making an offer like this, or at least I haven't seen it. So thank you for watching. Now look, you don't have to go with me. You can do it yourself, or you can just take the knowledge that I've given you and start step by step. And maybe you're not in the position to afford my service right now. And honestly, like I said, I want to build goodwill with the community out there. If you found this information helpful, you don't have to go through my service. In fact, I only probably can only take 2 or 3 clients, because any more than that, I don't see myself able to fit that in. Check in with me first, and then if I have the bandwidth, I'll take you on as client. But after about 3 clients, then I'll be closing this offer in this program. Thank you very much for watching. If you have questions, get in touch with me. Send me an email.